Avice Caro, yeah. Sometimes I change it, but most...
Your real name is Maria.
My real name's Maria. Hello, I'm Avice Caro in conversation with OVERDUE Magazine. Fashion muses is an interesting question because I guess typically one would associate fashion muses with, I suppose, people. Of course, there's, Princess Diana, there's Queen Elizabeth I, but I would say my fashion muses are more so objects rather than actual people. So I'm quite inspired by the moon. I love how she glows. Often I try to kind of wear lots of pearls or white and pink, these kinds of colours. Fashion muses, the ocean, its vastness. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in England, so of course it's quite, I don't know, I take a lot of inspiration from past kings and queens. Just because when I was a child, my dad used to take me to various museums and houses, and I was just so fascinated by the portraits of kings and queens. I loved specifically sort of Tudor dress with the ruffs and the pearls dangling off one ear. I also love Victorian fashion. I think there's some brilliant portraits of Queen Victoria where she's holding a single rose and her hair's done in this gorgeous updo. But yeah, I guess my fashion muses are kings and queens. What does that say about me? I don't know. Fashion and music. I think it's really fascinating how we can look at different musicians in pop culture and see how various different eras or even albums or projects that they're working on are defined by the clothes that they wear. So take, for example, I guess someone like Lana Del Rey, who's constantly rewriting herself, not just sonically, but also in terms of visual culture. So I guess you kind of had her early Born to Die era, which was kind of characterized by the flower crown and her auburn hair. And then as you kind of move through the eras, you have, I think it was it her second or her third album where she was just kind of wearing blue jeans and a white t-shirt, which I think is so cool. And then, she has her whole honeymoon era where it's floaty white dresses. But yeah, I think it's amazing how sort of music and fashion are inextricably linked because of this, way of artists being able to kind of redefine their sound through visual and fashion culture. Fashion designers that I love at the moment are Simone Rocha. I think that what she's doing is amazing, specifically her pearl bag. I would love to get married one day and have one of those gorgeous pearl bags dangling off my wrist. I also love Home of High. They have some brilliant pearlescent silk pieces, and going into the shop is like being an adult in a candy shop, just because all of the clothes are so colourful and bright and whimsical, and yeah, it's really easy to get lost in the Home of High store. I guess also in kind of terms of wider fashion and culture, I love Vivienne Westwood. Specifically her, I think she had a fall winter collection, 1995 it was, and Kate Moss wore a wedding dress that was made of tartan, and she had a tartan veil. And I just think that this kind of, it's very British, I think, to kind of take something and then deconstruct it in such a fun and exciting way. But yeah, I guess that stands out to me. I love Miu Miu, Blue Marine, but also 70s Gunny Sacks. I think it's really cool how Gunny Sacks was sort of founded as a brand. Obviously it's American, but to kind of bring prairie dresses out into the wild. So a lot of them are sort of 70s does Victorian, which also I guess sort of is something that I'm inspired by, how certain kind of fashions can re-emerge. So I suppose sort of 80s does 30s, 70s does Victorian, and so forth. Laura Ashley as well. Love Laura Ashley. I actually have a Laura Ashley wedding dress from the 70s, and I've just started wearing it out to the supermarket and to just buy groceries, or even just to kind of go for a walk or to do my laundry, and it just makes everything so much easier. I love film. So just off the bat, in terms of fashion, I love, for example, Valerie and her Week of Wonders. It's such a gorgeous film. The main character wears all these kind of floaty white cotton nightgowns, and there's all these scary characters. I also really love, I suppose, period dramas. Recently I rewatched Pride and Prejudice, and I thought it was really cool how, although the costumes are sort of Regency era, there's elements of 2006 culture, I guess, when it was sort of released. There's this bit of Keira Knightley where she's got this side braid, and that's just so 2006 British kind of girl. But also in terms of kind of film, there's lots of really cool behind the scenes shots. My favorite is there's this picture that has emerged of Keira Knightley wearing her gorgeous Regency costume, but with a pair of Uggs. And I love that juxtaposition. So I guess also kind of similarly, you have behind the scenes shots of Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette, which I really love. I love Sofia Coppola's fashion universe and also music universe and everything that she does, but there's this amazing behind the scenes shot of Kirsten Dunst wearing this Marie Antoinette huge gown, but she's on a MacBook. And there's another one where she's just walking down the street hoisting up her dress and just smoking a cigarette, which is so cool, and this huge updo. But yeah, I suppose sort of this juxtaposition between whimsy and silliness. I think I'm inspired by all world history, specifically, I suppose, sort of pre-Raphaelite paintings depicting medieval clothes. I love Tudor fashion with the ruffs and the pearls. I guess I love sort of more Renaissance clothing, bigger skirts. But I guess I'm mostly drawn to Victorian fashion. I think it's really cool how a lot of it was quite morbid, in a sense that there were so many kind of taxidermy birds, and I suppose even the dresses themselves were made of a specific type of dye that if ingested would be poisonous. I think it's arsenic green, which you can also find in some of the wallpaper. So you have to be really careful when looking for Victorian clothing because it might poison you. But yeah, I guess I would love to be some kind of Orlando type figure, traveling through time, getting to be able to, I guess, experience all of the clothes and the garments. Well, in terms of sort of my practice, the way that I make music, it has always been from the heart and soul, but naturally as we grow up, as we sort of take on the world through different experiences, I guess our tastes develop. So I do remember when I was writing my myth weaving EP, I was very much into sort of, I saw this picture of Brittany Murphy, and she was just sort of stood outside her ballet class wearing a jumpsuit, and I thought, wow, that's so cool. And I remember sort of during my myth weaving era, I was just wearing lots of sort of ballet leotards over tights, and I think the album artwork is me just wearing this Samantha pleat jumpsuit over a pair of red tights. So that was that era, and then I guess sort of naturally now I'm a little bit more folky, so I'm really into kind of folk music, so looking at, I guess, sort of Gunny Sachs dresses, Laura Ashley, but who's to say maybe one day the next year I'll be a rock star and just leather studs and stuff, but I don't know. But yeah, no, I think sort of naturally as we grow older we change our tastes and we change our styles, and I think it's normal for these things to kind of progress and to change and to develop. But yeah, it's definitely not a conscious decision. I think it's, you know, my fashion sense is shaped by my world.
Well done, that was really, really, really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope you got everything you needed, and hopefully you can sort of cut and paste and yeah.
Yeah.